Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, don't give up.
Greetings, Redheads. Thank you for joining me in another episode of your favorite show, Red's View. I am your gracious host, Jay Red. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the official YouTube channel, youtube.com/WeAuthenticNetwork. And I'm joined by a special guest today. It's actually his birthday, man. Shout out to Mr. Serv-On. What's happening, man?
Oh, man, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, man, I'm just living life. Tell everybody I be just trying to avoid COVID, man.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. I feel you on that, man.
Yeah.
I got through that, man. Me and wifey got through that. We went through it.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's been rough out here, man, on everybody. But, man, it's something to celebrate today. It's your birthday, man. So shout out to Mr. Serv-On. Redheads, give Mr. Serv-On.
I can see you know that. Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you, man. It's a blessing to be alive, man. Another year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I just want to dive into your history, man, because you had such a legacy, you know, with you being a No Limit, and then, you know, the projects that you put after that and stuff, and you just coming off fresh from the No Limit Chronicles. I saw you in that, and that was one of the best docu-series I ever seen, you know, because I was a big fan growing up. So how was it filming that, man? Did you have fun with it?
I mean, because, you know, finally for me, you know, I was an artist that, you know, I played my part, but I knew how big my part really was. You know, I mean, I was never one to get on and say, hey, I was responsible for this, I was responsible for that. I wasn't just an artist. And so, you know, I mean, to be able to sit there, and then, you know, I've been off the scene for so long, you know, just stepped away from things, and to be in front of them cameras again, and in a music industry type setting, you know what I'm saying, was so refreshing, man. And getting to tell what, you know what I'm saying, what my contribution was, more just an artist. And then I wanted the world to know who we were. I mean, we were so, I would say, closed in and encircled, where we just kept business. And that's all we did. You know, people didn't really get to know us. And so I wanted them to see, all they saw was the 100 million albums sold, but they didn't know how we worked. They didn't know our trials and tribulations. And I wanted young artists to see that, and inspiring artists to see, like, you know, it took a few years before we got on, but we kept grinding, and we outworked everybody, you know, and we were businessmen as well as rap artists, you know, and that's something that I want all young artists to be right now. Like, so I'm glad, you know, it was a good thing, man. It felt good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's what I got from it. Like, y'all were about your business, but we don't know what happened beforehand. And this really just, you know, we got to the nitty gritty of what happened, and we got to know y'all's beginning. So how did you end up meeting up with P? I saw it in the docu-series, but, you know, just for the Redheads, how'd y'all end up linking up?
Well, I mean, I used to follow him and his brother Kevin around, you know, God rest the dead, his oldest brother Kevin, playing basketball, and you know, P was just somebody I looked up to on the courts, and then off the courts, you know, he always had my back. Me and C Murder was always tight, me and Corey, because my name Corey is the name Corey, so, you know, we just was real tight. And so, you know, I always knew P. I mean, he was always watching out for me, always watching me. So we met when I was younger, you know, on basketball and things like that.
Yeah, bet. And then were you already rapping before then, or when you met up with P, you started rapping? Like, what were you doing?
No, when I met up with P, we actually gave him, me and KLC, the drum major, we gave him my CD, which had my signature song on it, Gotta Get My Serve On. And if you ever watch West Coast Bad Boys 1, that he have his album, the only video they had, you'll hear him in there saying, on the hook, saying, Gotta Get My Serve On, but y'all don't hear us though. And that was really taken from the song that I had, that I gave him when I gave him my first, like, cassette, you know, CD. I'm telling my age with the cassette, but, you know, yeah. So, you know, so that's, you know, we gave him our music, and we went on about our business, because we actually was in Atlanta, and we was at Jack the Rappers, you know what I'm saying? And so doing Jack the Rappers, it was a big fight when Luke Skywalker Records and Death Row had their beef. And P, you know, ran up, because we was out there to meet Jermaine Dupri. And so P ran up, and he, you know, we talked, and we went ate, and he was like, you know, we gave him the music, And apparently, you know, he definitely liked it because he called back, you know, he's like, yo, I want to bring you guys up, you know, for Christmas, right before Christmas, if y'all don't mind, I'll get y'all back home. And he said the magic word, you know, we talking 93, 94, where he was like, man, I'll pay you 2,500 a song. So back then, you know, I mean, I had other type of money, you know what I'm saying? But to promise I made to my mom to no longer get in trouble because I was fresh off getting put out the military and then doing fair time for drug distribution. And so, you know, just young made mistakes. And so, you know, I promised my mom I was gonna be legit and do the right things. And so somebody offered me 2,500 to do a song. You know, we went up there, and that's where that began with him.
Yeah, yeah, man. And that led to major success. And then so you go into No Limit, and you were part of No Limit during the early days before it actually took off, like, you know, 1998, and y'all released just a whole bunch of records, you know. But take us to Life Insurance.
At that time, we had the man. They had some nice dudes, man. Lil Rick, Dangerous Dame, King George was there. Ed was there. You know, I know of Cali G, but when I got there, I didn't see him. I never really met him. And so he, of course, he was working with the great K. Lou as a producer, and EX-Ski, the legendary, you know, multi-platinum, you know, top producer. You know, EX-Ski was dealing with JT, the bigger figures, so I got to meet a lot of those guys. I got to meet E40. Yeah, so that's who was up there at that time. And, you know, of course, Silk and C Murder.
Yeah, for sure. And then you record Life Insurance, and that was 1997, and that was a critical acclaim album. And how was that? Because that came out the year before No Limit just was everywhere. Y'all dropped 25 albums in 1 year. What was this like at that time with so many artists? You know, that's before Snoop and everybody got there. So what was recording Life Insurance like?
Oh man, I mean, for me, man, it was planned long time in advance, man. Um, you know, Kel and I know what we wanted to do. I knew I was different. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, I was, you know, I had an East Coast style, and Kel had this new type of sound that he wanted to bring. You know, which was that I'm Bout It sound and things like that. And so, you know, and I knew I rapped East Coast, but I used my dialect where I was from. So, you know, it was like going in as the underdog because we were having success then and doing things. And when you coming off Ice Cream Man, got, you know, #1, and, you know, and Downside Hustlers, killing everything. I'm About It, killing everything. It was one of them things, like, I wasn't afraid, but it was like, I don't want to mess this up, but I got to do it my way. You know, I got to give, you know, I made promises in the military to guys like, yo, I'm going to shout y'all out, man. You know what I mean? And, you know, and I had people that were counting on me as far as, you know, people that I worked with earlier and things like that. And so it was like, and the great thing about P, he let you be your own creator. You know, you had to do 5 songs that he wanted, that he felt like this is the ones I can market. We can't lose with these type, you know what I'm saying, songs, which was like a Miss My Homie song for people that have lost people. You know, that female song to give love and respect to females. Of course, you know, then that song that a bang in the trunk, the weed song, you know, our Soldier song. And then to, you know, we had so many fans that were, you know, followers at the time in the beginning, that Gang Bang. So we always gave that song for them. But after that, he let you do whatever you want. And that's what I love, because we had to turn in 25 songs in 2 weeks, or your album didn't come out. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so after that 5, I had 20 to do what I want to do. You know, and that's why I think Life Insurance became, you know, considered a classic and things like that, because I think I gave them a different style. I gave them a different, you know, than what you were hearing. You know what I'm saying? I gave them a different flow, you know. So, and then I always shouted out so many different cities and areas, you know, to pay respect to my guys, you know what I'm saying, that I was in the military with.
Yeah, I noticed that. I went back and revisited the album, and you actually re-released it. And what I like about it is that you have, for every song, you have intro in the beginning, and you explain the process behind every song. I think that's dope, and I wish a lot of more artists would go back and re-release stuff.
Yeah. And please remember, I was the first to do it. You know what I'm saying? And because I could see other people doing it, and I think the push that we about to put behind it, you know what I'm saying, that is gonna get it out there. And then I'm doing the next level like that, the album that went #1 with Pun.
Right.
And that's gonna be very interesting because, you know, you're gonna hear uphill and downhill, meaning not downhill of losing money and things like that. You're gonna, you know, the sessions were different, you know, because now you had life insurance that was done in a studio probably no bigger than, you know what I'm saying, including the booth, even though it was in the office. But, you know, he kept us hungry, and KL kept us hungry. He wouldn't put us in big time studios. So we had our own studio, which was no bigger than a room in your house. You know what I'm saying? One of you say your bedroom, your master bedroom in the apartment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was, you know, it was, and when you look back at it, man, it was the right way to do it because we got in there and we worked. And if we was tripping or slipping, KL would turn off the air conditioner, and that's what we used to call it, the torture chamber. And so you get in there, and now it's about 80, 90 degrees in there. You're gonna knock your verse out and will not make no mistakes, so you can get that air conditioner back on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was, and so for me, you know, doing the audio, I really wanted people to know about us and to know about how those songs came about, what we was thinking, and the process of who we were. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm definitely doing that with the next one, and I appreciate that you caught that. You know what I'm saying? And really, you know, and liked it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm looking for the next level. So let's dive into that. How was it recording with the late great Big Pun, man? Because not everybody can say they had a feature from him, you know, or the likes of like Biggie, Tupac, and everybody. But you had a feature with Big Pun, had a single, the video, and everything. What was that like?
First, man, when I went up there, I want big ups to Fat Joe, because Fat Joe is really the reason. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand how we even got connected with Fat Joe. When the East and West was having their beef, we was in Miami, and we came down like 30 deep. We wanted to make our mark. They didn't know who we were then. And so we were at a conference, and we were in the lobby, and Fat Joe got jumped. You know what I'm saying, by some West Coast, I think LBC guys, Snoop guys, and he held his own like a man by himself. Some New York artists was out there, and they didn't help him. You know, so when he came in the lobby, you know, he had like a red mark under his eye, and we knew who he was. I was a big fan of his album, Jealous One's Envy. And P was like, man, what happened? And we were looking to make a name for ourselves. So it was like, what happened? And he was like, man, look, this, what happened. We was like, come on, let's go. And we all went outside with him, and that could have really turned bad and changed the whole landscape. You know what I'm saying? A rap. And they were nowhere to be found. And so him and P talked, and then Mia did a song with him. And so when he came down and Pum was really banging, he sent me to the House of Blues to just show respect there in the city, see if they need anything. And I saw Pun, and I'm like, man, I'm a big fan. And Pun was like, I know who you are. And Fat Joe was like introducing us. And I was like, man, we gotta, you know, I'd love to work one day with you. He was like, I definitely would love to work with you. Let's make it happen. And so I was like, damn, okay. So my album was being strategized. Like, we wanted certain features, maybe one or two outside of us. And so P was like, why don't you do it with Pun? He said, we'll reach out. And we never reach out to nobody. So it was strategic. And then that's something I wanted, because I was a big fan. So when we got to New York, of course, Fat Joe picked me up, man, took me around, had my back. We got to the studio, and I'm in there, man. Funny story. I'm in there, and I learned something. I'm in there, man, and first I went to his house, and I was like, man, I don't want to wake this man up, disturb him. And he was like, nah, come on in. And we talked for a second. He said, I'll see you at the studio tomorrow. And when we get in there, I got, you know, we got liquor and stuff like that. And I'm man, let's kick it. Let's do it. Let's do this song. And he walked in there and he said, nah, we about to work. You know, and I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, you know, like, all right. And when he walked in there and he got in that booth, man, and he knocked his verse out and his ad libs and his doubles without not one mistake. That's rare.
Wow.
It's called one take. A lot of rap artists will be talking about one take, like don't mess up, period. No punching in, excuse me. And when I saw that and he came out, and when he came out, I was like, man, that's a beast. He was like, hey, you go do you, handle your business. Don't let me outdo you on your own song.
Damn.
And so that's why I took it so serious, where I was like, okay, this is not a game. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I'm like, all right. And I went in there and, then we worked on the hook and everything, man. And he was such a good guy. And when we came back to shoot the video, people didn't know his foot was broken. It was 10 degrees,
Damn.
like 10 degrees in New York. And we did the video in Times Square, which not even no New York rapper back then had ever did a video, let alone a Southern video artist in New York. But it was personal, because I remember, you okay? I remember when they booed Outkast and they booed Andre, and Andre said the song got something to say. And I remember telling my guys from New York, I said, I promise y'all gonna pay for that. Not in a bad way, but we gonna get in this rap game. And I vowed then to be part of that movement, to get that respect. And so I wanted to shoot it in Times Square. You know what I'm saying? And it was parts, and then we shot parts in the tunnel. And it was so awesome to see Capadonna from Wu and Shaquem. They came through, and it meant a lot, because that's the Mecca.
Right.
But Pun made it happen. And sad to say, that was his last video he ever shot.
Wow.
And then it gave birth to the first video vixen. If you ever look at it, where we in the limo, light skin with curly hair, but she's a Latino, Vita Guerrera.
Oh.
She was the first video vixen, and that was her first video.
Wow.
And then the guy that shot the video, he was like 21 years old, man. And he was an African kid, man, and he gave him a chance, and you saw what he did, so it was a lot of a first, and he's like big time with movies now, so it was special.
That is, man. That was Pun's last video, Viva Guerrero's first video.
Yeah.
Man, and to me, what I love about the song so much is that you could tell that y'all collabed on the hook together. Y'all were in the studio together. Nowadays, it's just, these artists just do it for a check, or, just send records and stuff,
And they don't, and I think the difference with the youngsters today, man, I love who they are and what they doing, you know what I'm saying? But we lived a life then where it was like you said, don't let me outdo you on my song.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we want to make a hit, but we really making a statement to each other. Like, either you better than me or I'm better. It was that competition. It was that we made songs to win.
Right.
Not to see if we could win. And I think a lot of young artists, they enjoy it. They're talented, but they just do it to say, okay, I'm putting another song out. Everybody gonna pay attention. You know what I'm saying? And this and that, and I'm gonna make some money. We did songs to win, to be legendary, to be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if you look at it, okay, I'm doing a song with Pun. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be forever in history. And then that album it went number 1. So I'm forever in history. And that's I think the difference with what we did. And it was not beef, of course, but it was like, he from New York. He that guy right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta represent the South. I cannot come out of this where, yeah, I got him on there, which gonna give me New York and the whole Latin community, you know what I'm saying, and all his other fans, but man, he killed me on my song. It was personal.
Yeah, for sure. But it wasn't that many collabs with outside artists with No Limit. That's why that's a real big highlight.
Yeah.
Look at. But yeah, so when y'all was recording, a lot of people want to know, how did y'all decide whose time it was, or because it was just a bunch of artists at the time. So how did y'all decide whose album was coming out, or this is, KLC and them made a good beat. Who gets the beat? Like, how did y'all decipher that?
Okay, the way it was, like, okay, if P was doing his album, he'll stick his head out and say, who got something? And I don't think artists of today can deal with what we had, what we was doing,
Yeah.
because when he stuck his head out, all 20 of us in there had something. So he would, like, you go in there and knock your verse out, and KL will be like, man, you know what, Serv verse nice, or Theme verse should be on there, okay. And you didn't get mad, you didn't get upset.
Mm-hmm.
You always knew another project was coming. And, so that was one way. And then the other way was, but see, also we had a system. Like, for instance, if your album was coming out and I got on it, I got paid per verse I was on it. So what if I was on 4 of your songs and I was getting $2,500 a verse then? So that's 10 grand, right? Of
Right.
just your album. But what if we knock out 3 albums that month? So see, we got paid. And Snoop said it one day, you can find it on an interview, where he was like, man, not only do we get a check every 2 weeks, because P didn't want us in the city messing around. So he was like, one, y'all gonna keep recording, and then I'm gonna put y'all on payroll. And then we would get paid for being on each other albums. So if you was your album time, guess what? You look out there, I was sitting there, Fiend sitting there, C Murder sitting there, we was not leaving your side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was money, plus we knew P was watching, who was killing songs. So he was the type that'd come around and we all would get our album covers done. You know what I'm saying? And the fans never knew. They really the ones chose it. If it was like, oh man, Serv-On, they talking about your album cover. Then you handled your business on the song, it's your time. And then but it was also pre-planned, because we would do your album, my album, C album, Mia album, and to introduce them to introduce us to everybody out there. And say the first album did 300,000. We knew next year, when it was the next year time to go,
mm-hmm.
we was gonna do 600,000. You know what I'm saying? So he remembered how we went in line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it was also, something that I've talked about before, and people like really trip out. Everything was also, again, pre-planned, because say, for instance, Puffy was coming out. And I always use this, because I have respect for Puff. P gonna put his album out, right? Then next week, when Puffy might have did 400,000. The next week, you never want to go less than half of that. So you want to do it above 200,000 and above. So what P would do, he would put C Murder album out. Now it's P and C against Puffy. So the third week, their minds would come out. Now it's 3 against 1. That's the army. They're like you say, you got kings, but kings can't rule or win a war without an army.
Yeah.
So now you facing 3 of us. So you're not gonna win. And then now we're gonna push you back, where you're not gonna sell any print. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way it was. It was in that order of also who was putting in more work. Like somebody like Fiend was always there.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear him on hooks and stuff like that, and you know what I'm saying, and I was always there. So P know, like, okay, you know what, is your time. They and if it was a song that P had that was hot and you were on it, he was gonna put your album out real quick.
Wow, man, that's what I've always wanted to know as a No Limit fan, since all of y'all were on there. That's crazy, man. And I know that will never be done again as far as what y'all had. It was just so special at the time and unique. Nobody did it before, and nobody's going to be able to do after. Especially like
yeah. And we had a like you hear NBA teams, they having gel together. We were family, not just because we knew each other. We started out, he built that in that way, where at 4:00 every day, everybody had to go play basketball, whether you know how to play or not. You know what I'm saying? If we went 8, you know what I'm saying? If I was hungry and y'all were at the studio, I couldn't come in there with just food for me. I had to call and see what everybody want. You know what I mean? It was like, and we never let people around. We didn't let people in, you know what I'm saying? So it was just us. We relied upon each other. So now you didn't have like, jealousy or, okay, Fiend on 5 songs, I'm only on 2. Man, what's up with that? I'm better than him. We didn't look at it that way. We looked at it like, all right, I'm on my album. I'm killing that verse. I'm getting paid for that verse, and we're gonna make this happen. And I don't think that'll be done again because the younger generation, like right now, like one of the wishes I have for the younger generation, like get along, man, do songs with each other. You know what I mean? You'll never see a label that had that many artists that got along.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have jealousy each other because we was around each other to the point where when we had nothing. You got labels today where he lived on the west side, he lived on the east side, he didn't have nothing, you know what I'm saying? And now we have something or whatever, whatnot. We all came to that label with the same set mindset. You know what I'm saying? So we grinded together.
Yeah, definitely, man. So I was watching the docuseries, and it looked like a lot of y'all kind of left No Limit around the same time. Was it just like a general consensus of like issues, maybe that P was not focused on the label as much, or like what's the reason that you feel like you left, that you had to leave at that time?
For me, I mean, I didn't do well with Fame. I love the music. I love learning. I love the business. He was teaching me. I got to a point where I felt like my life didn't belong to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I could go out and eat and somebody want to take a picture and I'm with my kids and stuff and I'm like, man, give me a second. And then they curse me out. And now I'm doing something in front of my kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? And and everybody like put me on this and that. And you don't put them on. And then this one got, and then my kids at the time, I never got to see their first steps. And so I was missing so much. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I have an older daughter now who's great businesswoman. You know what I'm saying? She owns Essential Grills in Virginia. And she suffered from me being, because I never was really there and around and things like that because we was that label at the top. And, so for me, I was getting burnt out and then I felt like it wasn't family that much no more because everybody was kind of like not just P being where he at doing what he was doing because I understood what he was doing, building a brand in a different era. And then he was following a dream that we all wanted, because we wasn't typical rappers like you see rappers play MTV celebrity games and all that, and they make a shot in the world. Say, oh, he could ball. No, we balled for real.
Yeah.
When we hit cities, we beat college teams.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? When we hit cities, and so, what I mean? And I knew what he was doing and, I was happy for him in that, but it was like, it wasn't family to me no more. And so, when it started happening, and then with KL and KLC, Beats by the Pound and P having a difference, I really was put in the middle because KLC and Craig B, who did Ain't My Fault, were my producers. I brought them with me to No Limit. And so when now that they having a difference, P wasn't treating me different, you know what I'm saying? But I can tell it was like, what's up with your people and, and things like that and what was going on. And then they not around no more. And, and now you got to think about it. I'm the one that had them two there. You feel what I'm saying? And I just didn't want to be caught in the middle because, KL was like my, that's my brother. So, I'm still on No Limit, but they got issues with No Limit. So I go around them and, the rest of Beats by the Pound will be kind of quiet. And that wasn't who we were. And then when I come around No Limit, it's like, I know you've been around them. You know what I'm saying? I just felt, and so I just got to that point, like, you know what, it's time for me to walk away from this, and just go get my life back because it was a whirlwind. So for me, it wasn't a bunch of other things. It was about me.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that you touched on that I really liked was when they were talking about C Murder. And, now it looks like hopefully he'll be able to get out pretty soon, prayerfully. I think that he will. But you were just talking about the corrupt system that's down there in Louisiana. And you know how racist it is, and it's a lot of things that we didn't know. Like all of y'all staying in that community, and then y'all saw like a burning cross. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you know, I actually like I didn't get to witness it. That was during that time that they were there, but we knew about it. But we knew in Baton Rouge, you know, Webby and Boosie can attest to this. They was from the bottoms in Baton Rouge, where Southern University was at. A lot of you Baton Rouge dudes, street dudes, didn't want to come up past LSU, like past College Drive, because the police in Baton Rouge, it's a difference of dealing with the police and dealing with the state police. State police in Louisiana is no joke. They got a license to kill. And then Baton Rouge has they have a lot of well-off white people. You know what I'm saying? But they are really like, it's our city. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a place called Denham Springs right outside, which is where the Ku Klux Klan is at. And David Duke, who was head of the Ku Klux Klan, was in, you know, right there in Denham Springs and Baton Rouge. And so we would, you know, what it was, I think, you know, the guys that were from Baton Rouge that lived in the bottoms, as they call it down there, off Plank Road and whatever, whatnot, and white people, you know, they didn't have that respect for them. You know what I'm saying? In any form or fashion, they didn't see, I would say, wealth with them. But then now you see us, and we riding around in Mercedes, you know, Mercedes and Land Rovers, Range Rovers, Corvettes, Ferraris, you know, and now we in their area driving better cars, living in the same houses and bigger houses, you know what I'm saying, bigger than their houses. So they not used to seeing black people like that. They might see a Shaquille O'Neal or somebody that went to LSU and, you know, one or two black people that, you know, more than likely, which I have no problem with, maybe married to a white female, you know what I'm saying? But there was some type of sports guy that lived there. But to see black dudes walking around with tattoos, you know, goes in their mouth, chains on, you know, in these expensive cars better than theirs, they didn't like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was like seeing a ghost to them, like, wow, a black man with money.
Right.
You know, and they didn't like that. That was, you know, so they had their little issues and they things, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we was so many of us, you know, they didn't cross that line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you could tell white people wouldn't really speak, you know what I'm saying? And when you from Louisiana, you know, we cordial, you know what I'm saying? In New Orleans, if some of you walking past and somebody just might be like, all right, what's up? You know, say what's up back, keep going. But if you pass somebody and they don't say what's up or something like that to you, watch yourself. So we get to Baton Rouge and, you know, white people looking at you, they kind of bold, might not, you could say, excuse me, they wouldn't move. And now you just like, okay, I'm a different breed. I'm from New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? We not gonna play with you, you know? So, you know, I mean, you felt the racial tension, you saw it, you dealt with it, you know what I mean? It was out there, but they didn't know how to deal with us because they were used to black people staying down at the bottom and then come, you know, further up or whatever, whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a culture shock for them, and it was a culture shock for us because in New Orleans, you don't really deal with a lot of racism. You don't really deal with it, period, right? In the inside of New Orleans, most white people they around us. You know, we go to spots and whatever, whatnot, and it's different. You know, now outskirts of New Orleans, you deal with it. You know, but then us coming to Baton Rouge, and now you seeing white people staring at you, looking at you, you know, like they want it with you. You know, so it was a culture shock.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And also I know during that time, I heard you speak in an interview about this, because some people feel like when the cash money, you know, when that machine came up, they felt like No Limit faded out. But I think I heard you say that y'all were already at the top. They didn't knock y'all off. You know, y'all went into another direction.
Nah, man. Yeah. Man, you know what? And I'm gonna use your show to clear up some stuff. You gonna get it first.
Yeah.
You know, we were where we were at. You know, they came we slowed down because of us walking away. We was still doing #1 albums, platinum. Come on, come on. I'm sorry, man. I think maybe it's the area I'm in.
Yeah.
But we didn't, so and then we did music for the streets. We did music for that little guy that was struggling in life and whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Different. It was, and I've seen from Turk, especially Turk. He always got something about No Limit. Never. You know what I'm saying? And that was, we didn't have beef with them because a lot of times Baby and P might not have dealt with each other. But me and Juvie was cool. Juvie and Mystical was cool. Me and BG was cool. BG and Slim was cool. You know what I mean? Fresh and KLC was cool. Me and Fresh was cool. Manny Fresh. So, I mean, Meal was cool with all of them. They all had respect for us, so it wasn't what people said. And I always hear think, and one of their little artists, Miss T, she recently said something about people, whatever, with No Limit. All of them said, a lot of people say a lot of things, but they know who ran things, and they know they started in New Orleans, where we started more in California. You know what I'm saying? We got on first in the Midwest and other southern cities before New Orleans. They were in New Orleans, so we had that respect for them. We listened to their stuff. We dealt with them, you know what I'm saying? But when you hear Hot Boy Turk and he like, oh man, me and Wayne with our rap, man, sit down. Anytime, anywhere, even right now. You know what I'm saying? You tell them out my mouth anytime. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't touch us. You know what I'm saying? But they were great artists, man. We loved them, you know what I'm saying, because they was from our city. But they never replaced us. They never, they were a different lane. You know what I'm saying? We walked away. We slowed down and it made it easier for them. But we opened that door to make people even want to pay attention to them. So man, it killed me when people say that, man. Like, oh yeah, they replaced us, and come on, man, stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say that all the time, like, No Limit, because y'all come from New Orleans. Everybody tries to compare y'all to each other, but there wouldn't be Cash Money if it wasn't No Limit. Nobody was able to do what P did with Chuck did, period.
Yeah, they probably would have got a deal because they were rising. You feel what I'm saying? But they watched us. They knew. You feel what I'm saying? And so, I don't think they would have got offered that type of deal. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, they would have got a deal because they had it. But I don't think they would have been offered that type of deal if we didn't do what we needed to do. You know how the industry do. Okay, we're gonna go to New Orleans. Okay, Universal. You look at it, we was with Priority. So, Universal, we gonna go get the next No Limit. And Cash Money was next up.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that's what that was about. And they deserved it. They've been there a while doing their thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've been doing it, man. But I'm glad you got a chance to clear that up, especially on my show. I hope y'all got that lesson from Mr. Serv-On. Shout out to you for that. But so after you left No Limit, you put out several projects, and even now, I got a couple of your newest tracks. So man, I heard Go Live. Go Live. That song reminds me of like traditional New Orleans bounce. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing I loved about some of those New Orleans records is y'all could just, it was a certain vibe. You ain't got to come with a bunch of lyricism. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes y'all can just ride the beat. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Go Live did for me.
Yeah, that's what it was. I wanted to have some fun. I'm at a time in my career because I was known as such a dark artist and a serious artist, and I was watching how things were going, and so I wanted to introduce a new producer, which was High Kizzle, you know what I'm saying, down there, who's been really doing his thing, and then Go Live was like capturing what's going on. look what we doing right now. We live.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it just the marketing aspect, the branding of it, and just and then it was a song, really like a respect of females, like, you know, hey, your rent paid, your kids doing good, go live. You know what I'm saying? You know, people go live and always show the worst things. You know what I'm saying? And especially with our black females. And I wanted them, you know, like, hey, go live, show them that you're doing good, show them you're all right, show them you're and not boss BITCH. It was like I wanted to change it in boss boot. You know what I'm saying, or something like that. You know, so it had some morals behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I got from it, man. It's like you sound like you're having fun on these tracks because, like you said, a lot of your music, especially in No Limit days, like it was a lot of dark, dark tones. But this one and then Drip Chick, they're fun records, and they definitely sound like they will be played in the club somewhere. So I'm glad to hear it, man. You sound refreshed, sharper than ever. So I'm excited to see what they do, man. You got a new project that you got coming out?
Yeah, and what I've been area, man. I apologize to everybody out there. That's my fault.
It's
You know what
all
I'm saying? I'm in a bad area. But no, we have what I've been doing something. I like discovering. I got my Hit Gurus, marketing consulting and branding company. And you know, it consists of a lot, like about 8 producers. So what I do now is I do EPs with one producer so I can help him get on and stick with his sound. And so right now I'm dealing with DJ Q, you know, from ULP out in Atlanta, you know, who we got this COVID-19, you know what I'm saying, that we did that's gonna be crazy. I'm working with another male analog. You know, we have, you know, legend called Legends, which me and Frazier Boy from out of Memphis, we have a song called Legendary. You know what I'm saying? And so I got a few more projects coming, you know, of course, re-releasing the Next Level, but then the artists that I'm dealing with, I'm more proud of, you know, the Trap Girls out of Arkansas, who's going to be crazy big. Our Armani, I Am Armani, he's from Meridian, Mississippi. He's going to be huge, man. He reminds me of Kanye when Kanye did Dropout, the Dropout album. You know, like he produces and raps, and the kid is a beast out of Meridian, Mississippi. His name is Armani, and you know he's all around triple threat, man. I think Mississippi gonna be proud of him, you know. And I work with other people. I got a few other artists that I've been working with, you know. But for me, man, I got, you know, books coming out. We got a lot, man. But music wise, you know what I'm saying, I really feel like this COVID project is gonna be crazy. That people are gonna really love it because they're getting to see another side of me. One of the first songs off is called Where Rap At. You know, especially going through this COVID thing, I just felt like where rap at, you know, where the leadership at to lead our community to make sure we, you know, everybody okay. So, I mean, I think that's going to be a real serious project that's coming up.
Man, I'm excited to hear those. Like I said, in my rotation right now, I got Go Live and Drip Chick. So shout out to you for still making.
Yeah.
I just love that artists that I grew up listening to are out here still putting out music, because the new stuff that's out right now, some of it's good, but you know, I don't think that you, like in hip hop, I feel like they always say that, you know, you're too old to be doing this or whatever, but we don't never do that in other genres. You know what I'm saying? So
Never.
yeah. So
But that's you know, and it's sad that it's like that. But I'm glad people in my generation and others in my generation are saying like whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's the way you feel. But what I'm gonna tell you, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you where I can still sell music out here. And if I catch you on the track, like when I do features with young dudes, I tell them straight up, you know, I'm gonna deal with you on your own track. You know what I'm saying? And it's personal. You know what I'm saying? And I think, like, you know, my generation right now, that's why you're seeing so many in my generation that are starting to do well. And they dealing with the younger, you know, group doing, you know, with the younger artists. But we're also selling records. You know what I mean? Not records, but streaming and things like that. Because I think people like such as yourself is like, you know what? Life is real to me. I need some substance. I need to hear that same voice that assured me back then that I got you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, and people still, black people still, as they got older, they still, rap was what they came up with. Just like some white people grew up with rock, rock music. And so that's why they still support those. And I think that's why a lot of people in my generation still support us, as generational artists.
Absolutely. And that's me for sure, because I'm a music connoisseur and I always love vintage artists still putting out stuff. But man, shout out to Mr. Serv-On. Thank you so much for coming on Res You, man. I'm gonna let you enjoy your birthday dinner. How can everybody follow you, man?
Everywhere on social media, The Real Mr. Serv-On. Every social media platform, The Real Mr. Serv-On. That's THEREAL, Mr. Serv-On, MRSCRVON. And that's me. I run my own social media pages, so, get at me.
For sure. Again, thank you again. Happy birthday, brother. Just keep making that good music and putting it out for us. A pleasure to have you on here. So yeah, man, make sure y'all subscribe to youtube.com/WeAuthentic Network so you get the exclusive interviews and all the other debate shows that we have on here. But yeah, this is J Red and Mr. Serv-On, and we signing out.
Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up. Don't give up, you gon' be on. Don't give up, give up.
I know you got doubts, but get to the bag. Just follow the dream and stick with the plan. I know you get worried, I know you get scared. Better take that risk, or you get stuck there. The sky's the limit. Don't